Hi, today I want to speak to you about something very obvious, and you can probably see what it is, and that is wearing multiple hats. Well, it's going to be a twofold type of video. It's going to be about wearing multiple hats and the story behind the physical hats and what that represents in my life, and why I am one of those people, maybe like yourself, that's wearing multiple hats. So let's start off with the first hat that I'm going to show you now. Okay, so this is the first hat that I want to speak to you about, and that is my rugby team that I support in South Africa. If you're not from South Africa, we support rugby, and we're not only just the Springboks, we also have provincial and regional teams that we support. And one of the teams that I support is the Golden Lions, or just known as the Lions. And I've been a Lions supporter for most of my life, and my dad bought me this hat. When he saw I was very serious about um, the team, then he decided, okay, let's find a hat, let's buy you a hat. These don't come cheap unless you go and buy the hats on the black market, the illegal printing market, which which I don't support, because the money that you spend on this hat goes to a lot of people who need it. The team, the people that actually physically make them, and if you buy it from a pirated um, group of people who pirate these products, you just become part of the problem. That goes the same with the shirts and everything like that. So buy the real thing from the real people, and you can count on having good quality. And now on to the next hat. Okay, here's the next hat. This hat is to me a hat that represents um, my artist side of my being. I bought this hat because I saw a lot of artists that I'm supporting, whether they are singing or painting or whatever art they perform. Most of them wear this hat. You may think it's silly, but to me, this hat is, if you look on the side like this, you'll see the hat looks different than my other hats. So when I have this hat on, it feels like I can now focus on art. Um, and it's usually, you know, we become the we become a different person when we wear a different hat, and that goes with police, that goes with um, sport, that goes with any type of job or organization or whatever. The hat that we put on is what we then stand for in that very moment. So this is one of the hats I wanted to talk to you about. And on to the next hat. So here's the next hat. I bought this hat in 2020s, so post first COVID whole thing that happened. I visited a place called Swadini. You can see there it says Ek Hart Swadini. In English that would mean I love Swadini. And Swadini is a holiday resort on the border of Mpumalanga, which is my province, and Limpopo, or Limpopo, or I don't care how you pronounce it. I can put a spelling of the um, province on the screen. Anyway, um, they are basically on the border of those two provinces in my country, and it's a place I've been to from first memory basically. That's where I learned to play pat pat. That's where I spent a lot of my um, years as a young person, and a lot of memories have been made at Swadini. So that's why I finally bought this hat to commemorate that. And funny enough, until today, I have not taken off the label. So I can show you here. You can see at the back the label is still on, and even the physical label that was in the shop is still on. I have not taken it off. So this hat is still mint condition, and it still holds the value that it was back then. And I paid in rand 128 rand for this hat, and yeah, I've never worn it because it's special to me. So yeah, on to the next hat. So this hat is a funny story. When I say funny, it's physically funny. Um, I needed to dress up as a cowboy, and my cousin had his my cousin and his sister had their birthdays, and we celebrated their birthdays um, in another town that we drove to. Anyway, the theme was cowboys, so obviously we needed to dress in the correct clothing and needed to wear a cowboy hat, and I didn't own one. And I bought this hat on bulk. When I say bulk, we as a family bought, let's say, 5 or 6 of them, and we paid a low price. This is not a real cowboy hat. Those of you who are real cowboys will immediately tell me it's not a cowboy hat. So I just put this hat in with this collection because it has a story to it. What I like about this hat is the fact that it keeps its form, and it's a synthetic material which makes it washable, and I haven't washed it yet, do note, but you can wash it, and I like this hat very much for that reason. And yeah, on to the next hat. The next hat. This hat is my going to bush, going to the veld, going to the wilderness, whatever, outdoors, going fishing hat. And this hat was my dad's hat, which he gave to me, and I appreciated that because the hat I did have got too small because when we got this hat and my previous hat, I was much younger. I was still in, I think, end of primary school, beginning high school. So I had a physical smaller head, and back then it fit my head, but now this hat fits me better. What I like about this hat is, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, let me go in. See there, there's ventilation. I like that because the ventilation allows my head to always stay ventilated, obviously. And I like that. It's not waterproof, obviously, but for the purpose It's the perfect hat. I can wash it. It's a material you can wash, and you can see I've worn it. You can see the dirt on it, so that just shows that it's a hat that I'm wearing quite a lot. So this hat means a lot to me, um, just like most of my hats, and I have a whole lot of them. I collect them, well, I try at least, and yeah, I like wearing hats. So this is just one of the hats I'm wearing. On to the next hat. The next hat. This hat, or cap, as some would put it, is the hat of my business. This represents my business. So when I have this cap on, or this hat on, I'm in business mode, I'm in shooting mode, I'm in work mode. And you can see there, that's the logo, that's my business logo there. And the business logo would say Faith Content, which is content that I make. Faith comes from the name that I asked God to give my business. I asked Him, please give me a name that I can give my business when I started, and Faith was it. The story behind that is pretty simple. I need to have faith in God to send me business, and I need the client to have faith in me to deliver a good enough product, well, the best product possible, and therefore faith. Plus, I'm a Christian. You may have seen on my channel that I'm a Christian. If you haven't seen that yet, go and check in the about page area, where I state who I am and what I am and so on. So I'm a Christian. So that's just one of the caps or hats that I wear. So on to the next one. The next hat. This hat has an emblem on, if you can check there on top. That's the emblem of Die Voortrekkers. Die Voortrekkers is an organization, a youth organization that is based in South Africa, and it is for Afrikaans speaking citizens who want to portray their positive citizenship of South Africa. They are Christian believers, or believers in Christ, and they are serving citizens. Serving as in, if you are a young kid who is passionate about helping people, whether it's for old people, if it's for your community, Voortrekkers are a serving organization as well. So they stand on 4 pillars, the A, B, C and D. The A standing for Afrikanerskap or Afrikanership. And if you don't know what it means, go and Google it. And then also Burgerskap, the B for Burgerskap or citizenship, to be a positive citizen, positive burger. And the C stands for Christenskap or Christianship, and you need to be a consequente is the Afrikaans, consequente Christen or constant Christian. So you're not now a Christian and later not a Christian. You're always a Christian. That's what it means. And also a serving person, dienstbaarheid. So you need to be a leader as well in all of these facets. a leader in Afrikanership, a leader in citizenship or burgerskap, a leader in Christianship or Christenskap, and also a leader when it comes to serving, diensbaarheid. So, voortrekkers or die voortrekkers is also a very big part of my life, and it affects all my other facets of my life, even this channel. So, if you are a voortrekker and you want to support me or the voortrekkers, you can leave a comment and I can send you the details and get involved. Maybe you want to be involved even though you're not in South Africa, you can still be involved. There's multiple ways that you can support die voortrekkers, and I'll be happy to communicate the ways that you can help. So check it out. On to the next hat. The next cap or hat. This cap or hat comes from Singapore. My aunt, who visits the world on a regular basis, once brought this cap back from Singapore for me as a present. And I've been wearing this cap or hat for a long time. I've taken it on shoots, so when I was still studying film at Oakfields College in Pretoria, yes, I went and studied film, I wore this cap. It even featured in a short film that I did. I don't have the film anymore. Unfortunately, it got lost on my old hard drive that I had, and it was a sad day because there was a lot of good stuff on that hard drive. Anyway, this hat has a lot of significance when it comes to who I am and what I do. So the cap first was my cap for films, and then it became a cap that reminds me where I came from, and also if you are from Singapore, maybe you can tell me in the comments what this sign means. You can take a snapshot of that on the screen and tell me in the comments what it's about. And yeah, I would like to know, really. So if you are watching, if you're from Singapore, if you know people from Singapore, please drop a comment down below and tell me. Thank you. And on to the next cap or hat. The next cap or hat. This cap or hat is the hat of Thaba. Thaba is a voortrekker camp that I went to when I was in the beginning of high school, and I enjoyed the camp because we went into the bush. I mean, it's dirty, like it's brown, red soil, and it gets into everything, but it was a lot of fun spending time there. And this might be an old one, they have newer looks and versions, but this still has an important part in my life, and I will never forget that camp that I went on. So to Thaba and all the Thabaniete who understood that in Afrikaans, you know Thaba. So if you are a Thabaniet, you know what this means, and maybe you can tell me, or tell the viewers, tell the community what Thabaniete do and what the ant on the cap means. And yeah, that would be nice. So tell the people what Taba is all about. I would love to see some comments down below about that. On to the next hat or cap. Okay, on to the next cap or hat. And this one is also a Voortrekker cap or hat. And if you can check there, it says Nakupi Camp or Kamp. And it's also a Voortrekker camp taking place a lot closer to my home. You don't have to drive so far for the Taba camp. This one is about hour and a half drive, depending on how fast you drive. Anyway, also a very, very fun camp. I enjoyed this camp also so much so that I went a few times. And this is for the people who are adults, this color. And also you get other caps which is for younger people. So different colors representing different grades. Grades as in grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, grade 12. So this one is for the adults, and I went there as an adult, and I was part of the first aid team, and I enjoyed it a lot because I am a first aider, and I also did my first aid course on this camp, the one that I went to the first time. That was pre-COVID, by the way. So very interesting. Voortrekkers is really on the ball, on point when it comes to stuff now. They look back at what has happened. They also look at what's happening now, but they also look at what's happening in the future. What I mean by that is they also plan for the future. So investing in the Voortrekkers, investing in young people's lives is at the core of the Voortrekkers. And I'm a Voortrekker, and I invest my time and my resources on a regular basis at the Voortrekkers. And this was just one of the ways that I've done it. So yeah, and on to the next cap or hat. Right, for this one I'm just going to hold 3 hats or caps like this, and then I'm going to tell you something about each of them. So you can see there's 3 of them, and they all are more or less about the same subject. So the first one is none other than the New York Yankees. I'm a New York Yankee fan, and I always will be. Not because someone gave me this cap as a present, but because of my heritage. My family came from the Netherlands, and the Netherlands is also the same place where the Yankees came from. So that connection is what makes me a Yankee. I also like how they play. Maybe they don't win every time, or they win every time. I can't watch the Yankees that often, but I do like them. It's a natural choice that was made for me, but a very good choice. So go Yankees. And I know those who support the Yankees, you know what I mean. On to the next cap that I had in my hand. The next one reads New York City, and the one next to it also reads New York. These two, they represent something I thought I would never, ever achieve. And that was to have the privilege to go to America, to see New York with my own eyes, walk the streets of New York, and it meant the world to me. I want to thank my family, each and every one of you who have contributed. You know who you are and what you've contributed. So I want to just get back to this. My camera cut out a little bit there. I want to talk to you about this cap, and that was to thank those who have contributed to the trip I went to New York City. And you know who you are, I've said it, but if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't someone very particular, my aunt, who said, listen, I'm going to New York, would you like to come with? And obviously my answer was yes, but that meant I had to get funds together, a lot of funds, in a very short space of time. And I had to go to the consulate in Johannesburg. I tried to apply for my visa for the first time. I failed because I was nervous for obvious reasons, and she said, you know what, it's okay, I understand, let's try again. I reapplied, went through the whole process. I went again, and the second time they said, you're okay, you can go to New York. And that was the happiest day at that time, because I had a lot more happy days that followed after those days, and it was one of the happiest days of my life to see other country outside Africa. And my experience in New York was very special. I did load my New York trip on my channel. You can scroll down to the older videos when I went to New York City. It was in 2018, and it was during September and also during the 9/11 period where the memorial took place. So I visited the memorial site on Memorial Day of 9/11, and I also experienced the whole memorial, and I visited the scenes and sites, and I saw what the conditions were, but also I saw 9/11 firsthand. What I mean by that was in 2001 I saw on the news, I was still a young boy, saw on the news what was physically happening as it was happening on the news in South Africa, on a very small screen, old TV, about this big, more or less, and then later at our own home on the bigger TV, which was about this big. Still the 3:4 ratio, or 4:3 ratio, whatever. So I saw what happened, and I still I still take time every year to think back and remember what has happened at 9/11, and I will always remember what happened back then. That takes me to the other hat or cap that I also have here. This is the cap I wore when I physically went to New York. My aunt gave me this cap when she was there not too long before that, and this is what I arrived with. So you'll see in the photos and videos I wore this cap. If you go and check that video that I made in 2018 and reposted it and re-edited it already again, you should see the video there, and you'll see this cap in that video. So just to prove that I'm not making this all up. So I want to take off this cap, and I want to talk to you about the caps and hats we wear in life. And there should be only one cap that remains on our head, and that's who we are if everything has been stripped from us. Our position in our work, our family has been taken away, our friends have walked away, everybody have walked away from you. If you have nothing left, physically nothing left, and that is, who are you? And that cap is the cap that should remain. That's the cap or hat that you should wear in your life. And I wanted to close this video with that thought. And that is the cap of your true identity. Not the identity you become when you physically put on a cap or a hat, but the identity that remains when everything has been taken from you. If you are someone who is watching this, who is in a war situation, where everything has been taken away, if you are someone who suffers from a disease, doesn't matter what disease it is, and everything has been taken away from you, if you are someone who lost all their belongings, who are you? Are you resilient enough to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and continue? Or are you going to stay down, lie there, and wait to die? And that's the cap or hat that the people will see. That is the cap or hat that the people will see. So, on that note, may the cap or hat that you wear be who you really are, when all social and economical and political identities that you hide behind, basically, if all of that has been stripped and you can remain who you are, if you can stay the same person, it's awesome. And I want to leave that with you. So, my final thought. So, thank you for watching, and thank you to everyone who has made a huge impact in my life. Cap wise, hat wise, but also life wise. Because it's the hat or cap that matters.